Boulder police responding to calls of people being set on fire during a peaceful demonstration in support of Israeli hostages.
There's multiple mixed reports about if people are on fire now. We're getting lots of 911 calls.
The group meets regularly and is affiliated with the organization Run for Their Lives. One of their leaders says a man was waiting for them and began throwing a box of bottles at them, saying several people were set on fire. One, an elderly woman. These images of a man holding what appears to be 2 Molotov cocktails.
Well, that man that you just saw in that video launched a horrific attack on demonstrators in Boulder, Colorado over the weekend. The individuals had gathered in support of the Israeli hostages who remain in captivity held by Hamas in the Gaza Strip. Now, using Molotov cocktails and a makeshift flamethrower, the man injured 8 people and is now being held on multiple charges, including a federal hate crime. Now, the assailant, I should say, attacked a weekly walk that's actually organized by a Jewish group called Run for Their Lives. And Cenk, these idiotic attacks happen. And I'm not sure if the attackers are under any assumption that this is going to have any impact on what's currently happening in the Middle East. But all it does is harm demonstrators who want to peacefully demonstrate in support of Palestinians. It hurts the Palestinian cause, and it targets innocent people, including elderly individuals who aren't doing anything wrong. They're exercising their rights in getting together to hold a demonstration in support of the, hostages that remain captive in Gaza.
Yeah, so as usual with these type of attacks, they are stupid, immoral, counterproductive, disgusting. So people get upset sometimes when I say counterproductive. So let me break that down for you guys. Number one of the people attacked was a Jewish woman who was for peace. So counterproductive as in you're attacking people who are on your side because you're using a metric that makes no sense. Jewish or not Jewish? Well, tons of Jewish people in this country are for peace and for the Palestinian cause of just having 2 independent states there, etc. Number 2, you allow people to come in and smear the peace movement overall, as we're gonna show you later in the show, right? So, they'll be used as an excuse to say that anyone saying free Palestine is a terrorist. Literally what happened on cable news today. So deeply counterproductive. Does that mean that it is just counterproductive and not immoral? No, both things are true. It's also deeply immoral to burn people alive. Especially if you are complaining, as you should be, that Israelis are burning people alive. Oh, they're so bad and immoral, watch, I'm gonna do the same thing.
Yeah.
It's not the win you think it is. It's super dumb. I've got a lot more where that came from.
All right, now the attendees again were peacefully calling for the release of Israeli hostages. Now during the attack, the assailant yelled slurs as well as free Palestine. And now thanks to the fact that this terrible person had used that phrase, as Cenk mentions, you see on cable news all sorts of people saying anyone who utters that phrase is anti-Semitic. Now, during the attack, he did yell that. A witness to the attack told CNN that he saw a man trying to talk the suspect down, but the suspect kept yelling, "F you Zionist, you all deserve to die, and you've killed these children." Now, here are more witnesses recounting what they saw during this attack.
I saw fire, I saw people falling and screaming and crying and tripping. He had 3 Molotov cocktails. One of them he threw inside of a group. At the group, and one lady lit on fire from head to toe.
Shoots of fire, linear, about 20 feet long. Spears of fire, 2 of them at least, came across right into the group about 15 feet from me.
Another witness said that one of the victims' pants were completely burnt off and that it looked like their skin had just melted off their bodies. The 8 victims, which consisted of 4 men and 4 women, ranged from ages 52 to 88 years old. And what may have prevented more innocent people from being hurt or killed was the assailant's own stupidity, which shouldn't surprise anyone because you have to be an idiot to carry out this act of violence. After the initial attack, a witness said the suspect went behind some bushes and then reemerged and threw a Molotov cocktail, but apparently accidentally caught himself on fire as he threw it. The man then took off his shirt and what appeared to be a bulletproof vest before the police arrived. The man dropped to the ground and was arrested without any apparent resistance. So just to give you some more details on the suspect here, he is actually an Egyptian national. His name is Mohamed Sabry Soliman. There's an image of him. He's 45 years old and was denied a visa to enter the United States back in 2005. Now, according to the Department of Homeland Security, he entered the United States on a tourist visa in August of 2022. Now, that visa reportedly expired by February of 2023, though Soliman had also applied for asylum in September of 2022. Now, DHS hasn't clarified where his asylum case stood as this attack happened, but says that he was in the country illegally. Now, online records also show that he was booked on 2 counts of murder in the first degree, which, look, luckily no one died. I don't know if the murder charge will remain, and I hope everyone recovers. It's just such a horrific attack. But the circumstances around those charges, again, unclear since no deaths resulted from the heinous attack that he carried out. He was also charged with using explosive or incendiary devices during a felony. And now he's been charged with a federal hate crime. So just some details on that. A criminal complaint said Soliman specifically targeted the Zionist group that had gathered in Boulder, having learned about the group from an online search, and that he had been planning the attack for a year. He stated that he wanted to kill all Zionist people and wished they were all dead, the complaint said. So attacking, look, not only was this a heinous attack that caused severe injuries to innocent people, what this obviously does is it creates a chilling effect when it comes to Americans exercising their right to speech, to assemble, to protest, to demonstrate. And what makes this even worse, I mean, it's terrible in every single way, but what makes it even worse is these are people who were demonstrating for peace. And he decided it's a good idea to attack these people.
Yeah, they were largely demonstrating to get the hostages homes, which is a perfectly great thing to demonstrate for. They weren't demonstrating in favor of the war, and by the way, it wouldn't matter if they were.
Exactly.
Okay,
yep.
And so I'm going to do my screed against violence in a second, but first, so this guy's not an American citizen. Don't jump out there and say deport him. Why? Because I want to keep him here? No, because we got to bring him to justice first. Like, I don't want him going to another country and not going to jail. He needs to go to jail for 20, 30, 40 years here, right? You try to burn 8 people alive, you better serve a lot of time in prison, okay? Then you could deport him. But bring him to justice first. Lynn Siegel's 72 years old. I'm not sure if she was the woman in that video. I just read about her in an Associated Press article, but you saw the woman in the video had the Free Palestine shirt on. And Lynn Siegel's in favor of freeing Palestine, and she was in the area and she rushed in to help. She was worried that people were gonna think that she's with the perpetrator. You see what I'm saying about how dumb and counterproductive screaming Free Palestine is after you do an act of terrorism? It is the dumbest thing you could possibly do. And again, I'm gonna reemphasize 100 times immoral. Uriah Heep is one of our members, and she wrote in, "This idiot has destroyed the peace of this city. It's a college town with all the bells and whistles of a peaceful place to engage. Now they'll always have this dark stain forever. I live near Columbine High School. I can't pass this without sadness."
Right.
So I mean, my God, has that area suffered? There's been multiple mass shootings there, now this. By the way, I have a family member very close to there. So look, terrorism is so dumb. And look, it's 2 things about the violence. Number 1, violence is an admission of defeat, saying I can't win an argument, I am surrendering intellectually, and I will now resort to violence. Number 2, if you're in the peace movement, you should be by definition against violence. Otherwise, you're not really in the peace movement. You're just in the movement of, I'd like my side to win and kill everyone else. And I'm not at all interested in that side, not 1%. I can't stand that side. So the side I'm in favor of is no one dies, no civilians die, hopefully no soldiers die. We have no war. That's what we should all be in favor of. And if you're in favor of that, people like this set back that movement tremendously. Because what happens next is, you're not allowed to say Free Palestine, otherwise you want to kill all the Jews. They literally said it on cable news today. So please do not do any acts of violence. It's totally against every principle that we stand for. So if you do that, you're by definition saying, I'm on the other side. Whether it's Israel or Hamas, I just love terrorism, and I'm in favor of violence as long as it happens to the other side, and I can't stand that.
Yeah, and this story, this horrific event is being used to essentially make phrases like Free Palestine taboo. So I'll give you a specific example. Just today, CNN's Dana Bash was interviewing a Democratic congressman by the name of Greg Landsman. He's from Ohio. And she asked him to connect the dots between the suspects behind recent anti-Semitic attacks in Boulder, Colorado and Washington, D.C., saying, they seem to say the same phrases, as if every single person who uses a phrase indicating they want to free Palestine is going to carry out acts of violence. Obviously, the vast majority of individuals who believe that Palestinians should have their own state do not engage in violence, would never engage in violence, and see what's happening in the Middle East right now as a gross injustice of the rights, the humanitarian rights, and the right to self-determination for the Palestinian people. But the Democratic congressman said, yes, there's 3 phrases here that people should get to know better. One of them is the use of Zionism, and I believe he said, and Zionism is simply the idea of a Jewish self-determination. So anyone who says that they're against Zionism, connect the dots, may be a dangerous person. But then he goes on to say that phrases like Free Palestine are problematic. And then the third has to do with Free Palestine. If you believe that Israel is there and should not be there, the idea of Free Palestine means not peace for Palestinians, which this group was supporting, which I support and am working for. Free Palestine means getting rid of all the Jews. No, it doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that. The vast majority of people who say Free Palestine want the Palestinian people to have their own state. Something that was supposed to be granted to them already, but wasn't granted to them because of the Israeli government preventing it from happening. So Israelis get self-determination, but the Palestinian people don't get that. And anyone who calls for that is apparently anti-Semitic, and we should keep an eye on them because they're going to carry out acts of violence.
Yeah,
absurd.
Yeah, so Greg Landsman should be voted out of office. You should make sure that you go to the primary in his district and vote against him. So now trying to free Palestinians is going to get you labeled not just anti-Semite, that's old school, right? But that you want to kill all Jews because you want Palestine to be free. Okay, that's the ravings of a lunatic mind. I'm not interested in a person with mental deficiencies being a US congressman. Oh, he's a Democrat, who cares? I mean, Joe Biden co-signed on this genocide. Later in the show, we have one of his spokespeople going, oops, we should have stopped Israel, but we didn't. Because that money was super sweet, right? The campaign contributions. Okay, so Landsman says that freeing Palestine now, any statement in favor of Palestine, of course, means you want to murder all the Jews, all of them, right? And that's what a person says when they think, I've got a good trick here. Let me use this terrorist attack against innocent people for my political purposes. Let me make sure that no one's allowed to criticize Israel, even though I'm a US congressman. And if they ever criticize them, I get to smear them and say, oh, the people for peace, oh, they want to murder everyone. Okay, but by your logic, Representative Landsman, your logic is so bad, I don't even want to get into it, because according to your logic, not my logic, I hate your logic. Your logic is, well, somebody killed Palestinians in Gaza, those were IDF, and they didn't injure 8 people, they killed over 54,000. Yeah, so hold on, let me finish his logic. Then anyone saying that they're in favor of Israel want to murder all Palestinians. So are you a murderer, Landsman? Are you a murderer? Oh, right, when it comes to Israel, don't generalize. Generalizing is terrible. When it comes to Palestinians and Muslims and people who want peace, just generalize, call them all Jew killers so we can shut them up so my beloved Israel can go on murdering people. Don't tell me you're against this attack, but you're not as outraged apparently at all about the 54,000 dead, over the 30,000 women and children, a stadium full of women and children massacred, slaughtered by Israel. But you're only allowed to get upset about this attack. You're not allowed to get upset about a stadium full of dead people. Let me guess, Representative Landsman, how dare you criticize Israel? Anti-Semite, killer of all, just shut up. You're the exact kind of violent warmonger that it continues the cycle of endless violence.
I remember when a young boy was killed, a Palestinian American boy was killed by the landlord it was October 30th of 2023. And he carried out this killing of a young boy as Israel was engaging in self-defense, right? As they had just invaded Gaza, as they were carrying out the bombardments that we've been covering on this show since day one. So did anyone care about that, by the way? Literally,
no one. Dana Bish, where were you, Dana Bish?
Who cares? I mean, it was a 6-year-old Palestinian American boy who was killed by their landlord because of what? I mean, what should I say? Should I say anyone who was condemning the acts of Hamas is now responsible for the death, for the murder of a 6-year-old boy in Illinois?
How dare you criticize Hamas, Dana Bash and Landsman, Representative Landsman? That's not my opinion. I think that's outrageous. I criticize Hamas
Yeah, that is an
all the
outrageous
time.
opinion.
All the time. But according to their insanely dumb logic, well, if you criticize Hamas, you murdered that kid. So I guess you guys are murderers. By the way, did you guys do nonstop coverage of that? We're doing coverage of this terrible, heinous terrorist attack. We do coverage of every single terrorist attack like this. So did CNN give that equal coverage? No, it's just a Palestinian kid. It's only a 6-year-old Palestinian. I mean, after all, Israel is slaughtering them by the hundreds, by the thousands. So let me guess, Palestinian lives, not nearly as important or relevant.
Yeah, that's been pretty clear in the way our legacy media has been covering this ongoing genocide in Gaza.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.